Welcome to VHS Voyage, where we're on a journey to find, watch, and discuss movies on VHS we've never seen or never knew existed. I'm Matt.
I'm Devin.
Today's episode, we're going to talk about
The Cable Guy.
So today we're actually talking about a movie that I've seen multiple times, but Devin hasn't seen yet, and that is, of course, The Cable Guy. Devin, hit us with some facts and information.
This is directed by Ben Stiller, IMDb.
IMDb, I'm going to say 6.7.
6.1.
Okay. Rotten Tomatoes, I'm going to say critic 60.
It's lower than, just a little bit lower than that.
57.
55, yeah.
Okay. Audience, I'm going to say 65.
Audience is lower than critic.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
50?
51.
51. Okay.
Yeah. This stars Jim Carrey, Matthew Broderick, Leslie Mann, Jack Black. There's also really small roles from Ben Stiller, Owen Wilson, Eric Roberts, David Cross, Bob Odenkirk.
I didn't see Bob Odenkirk. I
He
missed him.
is one of his family members when they're playing like the sex game.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude, I
you
totally
see his face
missed
for
that.
half a second.
Oh, okay.
They had to CGI the basketball because Jim Carrey apparently was like the worst basketball player ever. So they had to CGI him dribbling and shooting and everything because apparently he was god awful at basketball. The original screenplay is written by Lou Holtz Jr., but they brought Judd Apatow in, the man,
Okay.
to rewrite it. But the Writers Guild would not give him credit, Judd Apatow, so he is not given a writing credit.
The Cable Guy. What is The Cable Guy about? Well, essentially, The Cable Guy centers around Matthew Broderick and Jim Carrey. Matthew Broderick is like, I don't know, some kind of real estate guy or something, but he moves into a new apartment. He's waiting to get his cable set up, and a cable guy shows up, being Jim Carrey, who plays the cable guy. His name is Chip. Jim Carrey sets up the cable for him, or Steve, played by Matthew Broderick, offers him $50 to hook him up with more channels. His friend Rick, played by Jack Black, says you should do that, and he does. He starts to, not by choice, develop a sort of weird relationship with Jim Carrey's character, because Jim Carrey's character is a psychotic stalker, and he gets attached and stalks people, and Matthew Broderick is his newest victim. You know, they have some moments where Matthew Broderick seems to enjoy his company, but those are very few and far between because there are a lot of scenarios that he gets thrown into. And I'm gonna turn it over to you, see if there's any specific scenes you want to talk about.
I really only liked one scene.
Okay, which scene?
I like the Renaissance Fair or whatever it is. What do I call that?
That was a
Like Renaissance dinner. And I was reading they shot that for like days and days and days, like 16 hours a day.
Wow.
And Matthew Broderick was allergic to horses, so he was sneezing all throughout filming.
Well, like, what about that scene did you like?
It's just fun. I liked the improvisation of the Silence of the Lambs, like putting the chicken skin on his face.
Oh, was that it? Did he improv that?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. You can't write that.
Yeah.
That's just Jim Carrey being Jim Carrey.
Yeah, that was kind of a disgusting scene too. He's like,
Silence of the Lambs. Hello, Clarice. It's good to see you again.
It just cuts to them just having war with each other and just like beating each other's ass and jousting each other and all this stuff. So yeah, that was like the one scene that I enjoyed.
So The Cable Guy is sort of a dark comedy. You know, it kind of alternates between being goofy and being a little dark at times, because Jim Carrey's character Chip is kind of where the dark aspect of the movie lies, because you find out some stuff like about his character's past that's kind of thrown in the movie vaguely or in passing. Like, as an example, he has a speech impediment, like a lisp, and he says some stuff that suggests his dad used to beat the shit out of him, and that's how he ended up with the lisp. He had a mom that didn't pay any attention to him as a kid, and basically as a kid he just sat in front of a TV all the time and just watched TV, and so he was basically raised essentially by watching TV and watching cable, which is why he wanted to become a cable guy in the first place. It's almost like he sees life through the lens of what he saw on TV.
Oh yeah. And he names himself after classic sitcom characters.
Yep, exactly.
I got a list here of every cable installer fired in the last 4 years. Check out some of these names. Murray Slaughter, George Jetson, Jean-Luc Picard. There's even a guy who liked to be called the Big Ragu.
So that's kind of what he does throughout the course of the movie. He tries to destroy Steve's relationship with his friend Rick, played by Jack Black, tries to destroy his relationship with his ex-girlfriend that Steve is trying to get back with, tries to make him look like a terrible human in front of his family, which that scene, I like that scene because they're playing that freaking porn word game. Chip pairs Steve off with his own mom, and he's like, I don't want to say these words in front of my mom.
Yeah, dude.
Like, and the last word, it didn't say it, but it was definitely clitoris.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. 100% it was.
Yeah.
Yep.
The password is... I'm not quite sure how to say this. You know that little thing...
No, I can't say that to my mother.
Something else interesting about the movie is there is a ongoing court case kind of in the background of the movie that you see on screen. So Ben Stiller playing two twins, and one of the twins killed his own brother. But what I really loved about that whole like kind of just sub plot line that was thrown in there is you see this court case unfolding on TV screens throughout the course of the movie. Clearly it's the biggest court case in possibly the world right now in the movie. Everybody's following it. Then at the end of the movie, when you get to the final act, something happens. I'm not going to say what, but something happens that causes the cable to cut out for everybody right as they're fixing to read the verdict for this court case. You know, as this is happening, they're like, oh, wait a minute. I have family. Oh, wait, we can go outside. Oh, I can read a book. The basketball scene was really entertaining because Jim Carrey shows up to this basketball game that Steve is playing with his friend Rick and a bunch of their friends. He shows up in like these really short shorts. He puts a fucking mouth guard in his mouth. He does this really goofy warm up and he starts running like back and forth. But every time he turns around to run back in the other direction, his path gets shorter and
He's
shorter
running
and shorter.
suicides.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, it's called running suicides.
Okay.
It's a basketball drill, but he just
Gotcha.
made it look really stupid.
He made it look really stupid.
Can I talk about how much I hate basketball scenes in movies?
Yeah, let's hear it.
So, as a massive basketball fan, I cannot stand watching basketball scenes in
Yeah,
movies.
it's not.
You can tell people have no idea what they're doing.
Right.
You can tell the director does not understand how to direct any sort of basketball.
You would think they would hire like some kind of basketball coach to come in and help them.
Dude, it's even
You
in
know.
movies about basketball sometimes. It's
Yeah.
like, oh my God.
Jim Carrey's character in this scene starts playing very aggressively, like knocking people over and like chest bumping people and just playing real aggressively. And then eventually he jumps off Rick's back and does a slam dunk, and it causes the freaking basket glass back of the basketball goal to shatter. And just like most Jim Carrey movies, I think he steals the scene, or he steals every scene in this movie.
Dude, I hated him in this movie.
Did you really?
I didn't really like this movie all that
Yeah.
much. I thought I was being lame. I was like, am I the only one that hates his performance? And then I kind of started reading a lot of people hate this performance.
It's different. It's not like
It's obnoxious.
Yeah, it's outside of his normal performances. That's
it's
for sure.
it's obnoxious, and this is not a joke. After the movie was over, I had a headache, dude. Does it ever show where Steve lives?
No, I don't think so.
Dude, I bet he was living in the vents, dude.
I mean, Chip.
Whoever, the cable guy.
Oh no, it does. He lives in his van, his cable van.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
makes more sense.
Yeah.
So he can just be always around where
Yeah.
whatever person he
Exactly.
wants. Yeah.
Oh, this dude's always like parked on the
Yeah.
street right near Steve's house, probably masturbating to him and stuff. Oh, whoa. So there's a lot of scenes like this that show just how manipulative Chip's character is as he, tries to develop this forced relationship with his stalking victim. Another thing he does is he buys Steve a bunch of like state-of-the-art equipment, like a giant-ass TV, a karaoke system, a state-of-the-art surround sound system. And he's like, oh, this is a gift from me. I got the hookup. And of course, Steve's like, man, I can't take all this. And Chip's like, okay, I'll have my guy come get it in a couple of days. But in the meantime, he plans a karaoke party. He hires a prostitute and makes Steve think that this girl at the party is into him, when in reality, she's a prostitute. And Steve gets seduced by her, goes to the bedroom. Chip busts in and takes some pictures, which of course he wants to use later for blackmail. I didn't really like Matthew Broderick's acting in this movie.
No, I don't think I've ever loved Matthew Broderick in anything.
He's not a great actor.
No, like he worked for Ferris Bueller because he was
Right.
young and a teenager, and he just had to be like bratty.
Yeah.
I've never loved Matthew Broderick.
Yeah. There's a scene in this movie where Steve's girlfriend is on a date with some douchebag played by Owen Wilson, and this guy's like a serious douche, and Chip is there in disguise. Owen Wilson's character goes to the bathroom, and Chip goes in there and just starts terrorizing this guy, like giving him swirlies and beating the shit out of him, just terrorizing him, all in an effort to tell him not to date Steve's girlfriend anymore.
I was happy about that though, because there's nothing I hate more than a person that is rude to a restaurant server.
That'll take care of the shine.
Now, let's pluck those eyebrows. She loves me. She loves me not. She loves me. She loves me. Ow!
Now, I want to get your final thoughts, but I think, and I'm actually glad this is happening, but I think this is going to be the first time in VHS Voyage history where for me it's a keeper, and for you, I would imagine it's probably not a keeper.
Yeah, I don't think I'd ever watch it again.
Yeah.
It's a comedy, but I didn't laugh.
Right. Yeah, it's not like super funny.
No.
It's not, I'll admit that. It's not a super funny movie.
But, I mean, I wasn't bored watching it or
Right.
anything, but Jim Carrey got on my nerves a little bit in this one. Maybe the first time he's ever actually gotten on my nerves in a movie, because I usually like the goofy thing, but it was like, I mean, he really went goofy in this one.
Fun fact, before we close out this video, you remember the scene where Matthew Broderick is having a dream where Jim Carrey's pounding on his door, and Jim Carrey's character looks like a demon? When I was a kid, that scene used to scare the shit out of me.
So when I was a kid, I went to my local video store to rent this
Yeah.
Showtime video, because I was like, oh, Jim Carrey. I got 10 minutes into the movie and had to turn it off because it scared me so bad. Because when I was like 5 or 6, he creeped me out. And I remember seeing the cover and being a little bit creeped out by it.
It is a little creepy, yeah.
You still should go watch Ben Stiller's other movies too.
Yeah, Ben Stiller has some great movies. What's that one movie where he goes on this epic adventure?
Secret Life of Walter Mitty.
Yeah, that's a good one.
But Tropic Thunder,
Tropic
Zoolander,
Thunder, yep.
Reality Bites.
Mhm.
So he is a good director, actually.
That is it for today's episode of VHS Voyage on The Cable Guy. I'm Matt.
I'm Devin.
And we'll catch you guys next week.